Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode, another installment, another episode of Survival of the Fitted. I'm your boy Joe Williams, joined alongside my co-host Ian Pierno. How are you doing today, my guy?
I'm chilling. I think I announced it on the pod already, but I'm moving. So I don't have all my equipment, so my audio's a little meh. If my beautiful, beautiful face isn't in 1080p on YouTube, now you know. I'm just gonna be recording from random people's couches for like the next 2 weeks until my stuff
There we go.
when. But like we're here and we have important things.
We are here. We are here. We are here. Very important things to talk about. Also, I want to address how I couldn't find a synonym for episode right now. I was like, another episode, another installment, another, and I completely fumbled over my words. I hate that, but it's all
Another
good.
chapter.
That's we good. Another chapter. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Another chapter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has gone
Today.
on since we last chatted, right?
Very important stuff. Lakers in 9, say
Uh,
goodbye to a legend. But
saying goodbye to.
overall,
Oh yes. Anyway, go
yeah.
take us away.
No, I'm just saying, man. Yesterday was a heavy day for me. Yesterday was a heavy day in the basketball world for Joe Williams. Carmelo Anthony retired. Very, very, very sad. I know he's one of your favorite players of
Melo
all
was my
time.
favorite player growing up.
Or he is your favorite player? Or growing up, he's your favorite player? Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, but I mean, bro, it's sad, dog. Sad. Very, very sad.
dude, I was like, I will say like, I mean, at this point, you and I have like met lots of basketball players, other famous people out and about or whatever. And Carmelo is probably the only basketball player I've ever seen, and I was like starstruck, immediately Actually, no, the first time I met John Wall, I felt that way, but John and Carmelo are like the only basketball players like I was starstruck to me. And when I met John, I was like 18. When I met Carmelo, it was what last
Grown man,
yeah,
right?
like 11
Grown
months
man, just
ago,
still,
and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh my god."
That's hella crazy.
Yeah,
No, yeah, same thing. We met him at the same time, obviously, but same here. I was like, dang, that's crazy. Especially since he was the first one to walk into the room. We kind of had to go over there and talk to him, like initiate conversation. So it was
yep.
like even more nervous. But yeah, I feel you on that.
And that was one thing too, like, in that room, for everyone that doesn't know, last summer, me and Joe did a pod episode in person with Carmelo and Dwayne Wade and their stylists in Vegas. And basically, we were supposed to record at like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., something like that. And like in typical like superstar fashion, they were like 12 hours late. And it was like the biggest like on-camera interview either of us have ever done. So the whole day we're just like constantly running over our like quote unquote script over and over and over and over and over again, like wondering when these guys are going to get there. Anyway, they show up and, so it's four of them plus us two. So six in total. And,
Hmm.
Carmelo, like of the six of us is probably like the least, like has the least to say, but like
Word.
he talks like, and this was in a room with, two like legendary stylists, D Wade. When he talks, everyone shuts up and they listen. Like he like was undeniably the coolest presence in the room.
Word. 100%. 100%. I
Like,
feel like he leaned into his celebrity the most, but
yeah.
either way, it was crazy.
Like Carmelo's like, because we always talk about like how great, LeBron and D Wade and Giannis and these guys are on camera, and like Carmelo doesn't have like that same like polished nature for camera, but like, damn, was he the coolest? Like
Yeah.
undeniably, like he owned the room. It was his room, and that was
So just off the top of my head right now, do you have like any favorite like I feel like this is the time to, what I'm saying? Do you have like any favorite like Carmelo Anthony moments of just you watching him as a player or whatever, like in the last, I guess, 19 seasons he's had in the NBA?
of course. So growing up, and I'll keep this short. Growing up, I was a super. I like the Sonics because I lived in Washington, just outside Seattle. And anyway, the Sonics obviously left. I wasn't going to support Oklahoma City because ew. But I love Nate Robinson. He was from Seattle. I always thought I was going to be short. I didn't think I was going to hit 6'1". So anyway, I love
Mhm.
Nate Robinson, and he was on the Knicks, so I like kind of picked the Knicks as my favorite team. But I wasn't like watching super regularly. And then when Carmelo got traded to the Knicks, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I started watching Knicks basketball all the time. Anyway, there's lots of favorite, like, on-court favorite Carmelo memories, but number 1 is definitely, the Easter Day game against the Chicago Bulls. He hit the 3 to
Oh, that
send
was
it to overtime, and then in overtime, he hit the 3 from the exact same spot to win it. And I remember the announcers are like, "You gotta take a timeout right here. You gotta take a timeout right here."
yeah.
And then, like, 1 second later, Melo yanks it. Bang!
Bang! The
Um,
Mike what is it, Mike Breen or something like that?
Mike Green,
Just
yeah, and
crazy.
not only was it iconic to watch, but this was, like, I think it was my freshman year of high school, and we had, like, a study hall period, and we would all, like, watch, like, the NBA highlights and hoop mixtapes and stuff, but anyway, we'd always watch the NBA highlights from, like, the previous day or over the weekend. So I remember that first day back at school, um, having like 6 dudes huddled around like a slow ass Wake County public school system's computer watching Mellow bang, bang.
Bang!
It's like we were watching it live and it was so exciting. And I was like the Knicks fan of the group. I was the Carmelo fan. So it was like that was like my Super Bowl.
That's fire, bro.
Yeah.
And one thing I like about that too is because like you remember like the moment in time, like you remember where you were at, and I can relate to that too. Because like my favorite Mellow moment, where I feel like kind of embodies Carmelo Anthony as a person, is like when I got out of basketball practice and I was still like stoked on Kobe and all this stuff, and I remember just like waiting to get picked up from basketball practice and like checking my phone. It was like Carmelo Anthony drops Madison Square Garden record, 62 points. I was like, bro, you had 62 points, bro. I checked the stat line. And like this is where I feel like this embodies Carmelo Anthony perfectly. Bro has 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks. He just has 62 points. He did get 13 rebounds. But I'm like, bro, I feel like that's perfect. That's like prime, like that's Carmelo Anthony in a nutshell, bro. Just give me the ball. I'm gonna shoot it. I'm gonna get the rebound. What does he say? Like, I got it. Get the hell out of here, or whatever. Like he'd be yelling that. Bro, he'd
Fuck
be
out of
getting the
here. I got
rebound.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Get to the middies, just shoot straight mid range. No assists, no steal. I'm not playing defense. I'm not passing the ball. Just give me the ball. I'm about to shoot it every time. But that's like, bro, that's like my favorite Melo moment for real. Like, also, honorable mention. I don't know if you remember the Nez the Classified School Survival Guide cameo
Yo.
where he was like, that was a fire moment, bro. I remember watching that on Nickelodeon. I was like, bro, that's crazy.
If you guys don't know what Joe's talking about, just YouTube Ned's the Classified School Survival Guide, Carmelo Anthony. They make him look
Like, why are you in there?
They make him look like Morgan Freeman, a god type character, like in the clouds.
I don't even remember what the plot was for that episode. Something about some shoes or something like that. But I
I
was just
think
like,
so.
mother of God, so random.
Dude, the 62
Shout out
point
Mello.
game, everyone lies, by the way, and everyone says they remember watching it. But like, if you weren't living in New York, I think the game was just on like MSG networks. Like, I don't think it was a national TV game.
Hmm.
So I watched that game on Gamecast. Like I got like the notification that he had like 20 in the first quarter or something. And on like
Hmm.
ESPN.com, you could like you probably still can, but there was like Gamecast. It would show like each possession live. And I loved Melo so much, but I couldn't get this game. So I was watching the Gamecast.
I mean,
Like Carmelo Anthony made three. Like, and that's how I watched
oh, like a
it.
play by play. Like you're watching
Yeah, I
literally
was
a play
watching
by
the
play. Oh
play-by-play
wow.
unfold, like, in my mom's, kitchen, like, on, like, the family desktop.
That's wild.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Mello. And then, of course, favorite LeagueFits moment is Tuskegee Airman Mello.
I love that he embodied it. He was like, who made that? And he's like, I made that. All right. Well, that was the meme, right?
That was the Mello
That's
Max
crazy.
graphic, which we posted on IG the other day. But no, there was, like, this, like, viral face he was on the Knicks, and he wore this hat that just looks like a World War II, like, bomber hat or something. And, anyway, someone took that photo, made it black and white, and they put it in, like, this, like, Trump Facebook group in, like, 2016, and then they were like, "This is my great-great-grandfather. He was a Tuskegee Airman in World War II, and he would have been a proud Trump supporter if he was still alive today." And all the comments were like, "Thank you for your grandfather for his service. Thank you to your grandfather. Salute, salute." And it's just like Mello in the MSG locker room in black and white.
That's crazy. That's
Bro,
wild.
so funny. Yeah, dude, Melo's that guy.
No, yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh.
No, what I was gonna say was this. I feel because the 62-point game was against It was a Charlotte Bobcat.
Yeah.
Like this before they even went to the Horn. It was a Charlotte Bobcat. They're like the worst team ever.
I think it
LeBron also had like 60 on that team. Like they won like 7 games, dog. It was rough. It was rough.
man, dude, I'm like, why am I like in my feelings about Melo, dude? Like Melo was the reason I started watching basketball like regularly, like on TV.
No, yeah, facts. I
Yeah.
forget which. I bought some Mellows, some like Jordan Mellow. I don't even remember what they were. It was like before the M9. It's probably like a Mellow 6 or something like that. But
Bro, he had the most fire logo for Jordan. It was like the Melo with the flames on it.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Ugh, dude, that's my goat, straight up.
That's how it is, bro. Shout out Carmelo. People talking about LeBron's gonna retire too. I don't know if you seen that yesterday.
He's
Like
not.
after they lost, he like kind of hinted at like, "I got some stuff to think about." And I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, dang, bro, like we really losing all our like childhood heroes. I mean, they're not dying, but like we're like they're falling out of their professions.
LeBron just turned the
Sad.
news cycle from getting swept to retirement. No one's talking about how bad the Lakers were that series. And now everyone's talking about the retirement. So the potential retirement. He's not even going to retire. Like he's not retiring.
You don't think so?
Yeah, no, it did. I think about that though, like how all of our goats are at. Like, D Wade's retired, Melo's retired, LeBron, has a few years left. Like I always think about like who's gonna be like the new generation LeBron, Wade, Melo. Like, is it gonna be like John Morant, Jason Tatum, and Anthony Edwards, or like was that like era just like so special and unique? Like, I don't know.
I want. Yeah, I wonder that too because I'm like, I think it's just because I'm older now. It doesn't really like hit the same personally. Where like I look at like the young stars that are coming up, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's weird. I'm like, I'm not really too stoked on watching some of like the young stars as I was when I
Right.
was in
And
middle
they're
school, and
dope.
it was like, and they're hella dope, bro. What the heck, John Morant, bro, fire. But I'm like, dang, I don't know. Like, I remember when I was like in 6th grade, and I was like, Derrick Rose is playing. I gotta watch. I'm like, bro, John Morant's kind of doing a lot of the same things Derrick Rose is doing, but I'm just not as in tune with that. I think it's probably just because I'm older, to be honest. But
Maybe. I think about that too, and I have the exact same thoughts you do. I think we probably won't know for like another 18 years, to be honest with you. Because that was the whole thing is LeBron, Melo, those like all those guys, Chris Paul, etc. Like we got to see like their 18-year careers start to finish. Even like Derrick Rose too, like his like 15-year
yeah,
or whatever. It's like, we'll be able to compare like I don't know, Derrick Rose and Anthony Edwards, but it probably won't be until like Anthony Edwards is 39. Uh,
word.
but I have a feeling that maybe there's that era was so special, dude. Because you know what? The other thing about that era, like, like what, late 2000s, early 2010s, is it was back when like we would gather around the computer and study hall to watch highlights and stuff.
Do
Like
you think that's part of it?
I
It's a
think
little like,
so, yeah, 'cause it was just like a pure appreciation for hoop, because there wasn't as much, like, gossip and things like that, you know what I mean? It was
mm-hmm,
Facebook memes like, "Mom made pizza rolls," and then it was watching highlights, you know? There wasn't, like,
mm-hmm.
NBA Reddit wasn't really a thing yet, NBA Twitter, which is, like, the worst place on the planet, wasn't a thing yet. Like, if you loved basketball, you watched basketball, you consumed basketball by watching basketball, you know what I
Yeah, I feel you on that because I don't wanna cut you off, but
but
I hear so many people like, "Oh, man, the offseason is the best part of the NBA because that's where all the storylines start to develop." And
yeah.
I'm like, maybe just because I wasn't in tune, but I'm like, "Bro, I had before Instagram, before social media and all stuff like that, I had absolutely no idea what Kobe Bryant was doing in the summertime, like, unless he popped out to, like, some pro-am or which he never would, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, "What is this?" But, and I think that kind of feeds into your point. I'm like, "Bro, like, the only, like, storyline like that I could think of back when I was young, and well, I won't say when I was young, I'm not old, but back when I was, like, a little kid, was when Melo was on brand, when Melo was on the Nuggets and he was gonna get traded to the Knicks after the All-Star weekend, but, like, during that All-Star weekend, and everybody was, like, interviewing Carmelo Anthony, like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" And they're trying to interview him on the bench and stuff like that. That was, like, the only time I could think of when it was, like when it wasn't just basketball or highlights, it was, like, something outside of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just watching basketball. Like, no one consumes
Yeah,
basketball by watching basketball anymore. Even I admittedly, like, don't watch as much regular season basketball as I used to.
yeah. I
Yeah,
remember you saying that. You're like, "Oh, playoffs start. This is the part where I start watching," or something like that. I'm
basketball
like,
just
"Well, the
started.
regular season." Or you're like, "The regular season doesn't matter." I was like, "Bro, what are you talking about?"
I mean, I was kinda right though. I don't know. I don't know. Do just like, yeah, different I don't know. How blessed are we to have been alive for that era?
I would think that's the
Jordan
best era.
80s was sick, like, the Bulls winning everything every single year, but, like, man, there was, like, so many powerhouse teams, like, in the late 2000s, early 2010s. It was so exciting.
There's a really good argument for that being the best era of basketball just because of kind of what we're hinting at and like the balance of it. Cause I'm like, bro, I could only cause that's what I always hear, like, oh, in the 90s, if Dennis Rodman was on social media or all these like older guys, when all these young players have these allegations, they're like, oh man, thank God social media wasn't around back then. I'm like, bro, the fact that there was no social media back then is kind of like cool, but it's kind of not cool. And the fact that there's too much social media now is kind of cool, but it's kind of not cool.
We had to
I feel like the late 2000s was like where you could just like you could pop out and watch, you know what I'm saying, basketball highlights on YouTube easily, but there was no like day to day Snapchat, Instagram updates. It was like the perfect balance, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got the highlights the next morning. Yeah, dude, if they had social media in the '90s, like, Michael Jordan would have been kicked out the league for having a FanDuel account. Um,
He's
no,
it's gambling crazy,
so the era we grew up
man.
in was the perfect era. Damn, I'm nostalgic as hell right now.
Yeah,
Um,
unfortunate.
anyway, you wanna hit some of the other things we have to talk about today?
Let's talk about it.
Alright.
Let's talk about it. So you had Paolo. How do you say his last name? I always forget. Is Paolo Banchero or
Oh,
Banchero?
oh, yeah, yeah,
I
so
want to talk about. I want to get talk about that one. That was
Um,
fire.
so Paolo Banchero's slam cover has dropped today. It's dropping at noon East Coast time. So if you're listening to this before then, because you're just an early riser, congratulations, you now know before everyone else. If you're listening after, anyway, yeah, I don't know. I went up to New York and I styled that slam cover. I also styled the Scoot Henderson shoot that came out a couple weeks ago. Though I will say it's kind of ironic to post like Scoot Henderson shirtless and be like, "Styled by me." Like, it's
Yeah, it's like
not the hardest job in the world. But yeah,
yeah,
the Paulo Banchero, cover happened. You mess with it, Joe?
yeah. You sent me the pictures, and I was like, bro, is this Paolo Banchero and Janko jeans? He was like, these are Janko jeans,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I like that. I like what I'm seeing.
Well, because we wanted to do Adam hit me and he was like, "Yo, we want to style the cover. We want him in his basketball jersey. So like style around the basketball jersey, like make the basketball jersey look dope." And the Magic jerseys are kind of beat, if I'm being honest. They're not even that beat, but like the neckline is weird. Like, I wasn't
It's
really sure what to do. Uh,
mhm.
and so one option was like just put like a big like fluffy jacket on it. Like remember we did the fluffy jacket with Cade Cunningham a summer ago?
Kate Cunningham. Yep.
And I was like, so I don't want to do that again. Also felt a little too easy. Um, and then we've talked about how I've gotten into blokecore recently.
A what?
Blokecore, like the soccer
I don't
jersey
know what that is.
and the jeans.
Oh, okay, for sure.
So I've gotten into
Yeah.
that recently. And then I was thinking about that Jonah Hill fit pick. You know which one I'm talking about, right? The Jonah Hill Phoenix Suns fit pick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, for sure.
I
Black
was
jersey.
thinking about
Yeah.
that fit pick. Um, because I was like, when has a basketball jersey been styled? So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, just search Jonah Hill Phoenix Suns. You're welcome. Um, and so Adam was like, "What do you want to do?" And I, I took that Jonah Hill pick. I was like, "Yo, this is the mood board." Uh,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "All right, what else can we do? Because it can't just be jeans and a jersey." And Apollo has an Oakley sponsorship. And Oakley was like,
Mm.
"What glasses do you want for the shoot?" And I was like, "What if instead of glasses, you sent us ski goggles?" So we got the ski goggles. And I'm not gonna lie to you, bro, that cover, because in styling outfits, the way things looks in your head versus how they actually look on the person are sometimes entirely very different. That turned out exactly how I thought it was gonna turn out, and it looked just as dope, in my opinion, as I thought it would. I'm not gonna lie, not to, like, toot my own horn, I'm super
You
geeked
killed it.
out about it.
So did part because I know we've mentioned this before on the podcast, how you think it's super hard to make a basketball jersey look cool.
Yeah.
Was that at all like in play where you're like taking that little personal challenge, like, oh, I got to make this look dope because it's not easy to make it look dope
Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
for sure.
I mean, I only had 2 ideas, it was jeans or big jacket, and, for what it's worth, I didn't bring a big fluffy jacket, because I just didn't wanna back up and I wanted the jeans to work.
Oh man, he said my plan B is to make my plan A work.
In
I like
Apollo's
that.
credit, he was dope. I don't know a lot about him, besides,
Yeah.
he's from Seattle, went to Duke, whatever. But he was, like, kinda down for whatever. He was like he put on the jeans and, like, there was, some people in the room were like, "Eh," some people were like, yeah," and he was like, from the get-go, was like, "Oh, yeah." He's like
Oh,
he's
that's
like, "This
fire.
is
'Cause I was gonna ask that.
he was like, "This is" yeah, he was super with it. And I told him, I was like, "It's not the tunnel." Like, I was like, "If I was ever, like, dressing you for the tunnel or something, we wouldn't do this, but, like, it's editorial, you know what I mean?" Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, Paulo Banchero, dopest kid. So cool.
This what is it? Snow goggles?
Yeah, those are the snow goggles on his head.
That's
Uh,
genius. That's like a genius idea to like not even put them like on his face and just put it on the side. Like it looks like pure head accessory, like hat type vibes.
well, that's why because
Plus, I
cool hair, so I didn't want
yeah,
a hat.
that's what I'm saying. I already know. Just I don't know Paulo, but judging by this picture, I'm looking at the picture.
Mhm.
Bro got the cleanest lineup ever. I know he'd have been super mad if you just went and just covered up the braids of the line. He'd have been super
Right.
heated. So like, that's fire. They like all compliments it.
So that's where the goggles came in. We wanted to have his hair shown off.
Yeah.
Kept clean because he had the barber. That's one thing. Pretty much every slam shoot I've been on, they get their hair cut like 5 minutes before the shoot on some Joe Williams energy.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Bro, who was it? I was gonna ask you, Scotty Barnes, I think it was. He had like wait, did I just get that right? Cause I noticed it.
No, so
I was like,
Scotty
bro,
Barnes, we started the photo shoot, and he didn't like his hair like halfway through it, and
I was
we
about
had a
to
ton of time with
say.
him, and so he stopped the shoot to have his barber come to the studio, cut his hair, and then we reshot.
I love that I noticed that. Cause I remember when those pictures came out, I was like, bro, why does he look like he got no type of hairline, no type of lineup, no type of fade. And then you like, you know what I'm saying? Keep going to other pictures. I'm like, bro, I got a whole lineup, whole fade. I'm like, that's crazy. Pretty iconic moment.
No, I respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Paulo cover was Scoot Henderson also super dope. But yeah, the Paulo cover, I'm pretty geeked with how it turned out. We're
Yeah,
recording
that's
this
good.
Tuesday, the day before it drops. So who knows what the Instagram comments are saying, but I'm geeked regardless.
For sure.
Yeah.
Great moment in time.
Anyway, all League Fits teams are out. If you guys haven't, I know the rollout was kind of interesting this year. If you guys just want to see the full list
2K.
for the first the first time ever, we put it, like, together super nicely on, like, this it's called a parallax, which, all I've heard is the word parallax for weeks, but it basically just means a website that's, like, super visually appealing. We put all League Fits teams that has, like, a sentence for each player, like, the teams they've
Mhm.
past. Anyway, if you wanna check that out, it's at the link in our bio, or in the little, like, IG story highlights. There'll be a League Fits Awards. You can click that and flip through until you get to the link. But anyway, League Fits Awards are out. Hardest we say this every year, but it's because it's true every year. It was the hardest year to pick these teams.
Word.
Just to remind everyone, it's the third of the vote is the fans. A third of the vote is a panel that includes like designers, stylists, and like some former NBA, fashionistas,
Mhm.
fashionistas. No, it's still fashionistas.
Still fashionistas. Don't do
No,
that.
it was
Yeah.
masculine, feminine, like in Spanish.
Yeah.
And then the other third is me and Joe. But me and Joe had a pretty tough time putting our teams together. Do you just want to run through our teams? We will go team by team and pick the five that we each.
That
Well,
we picked?
yeah,
That
yeah.
we picked?
I sent it. I texted it to you.
You know, so my first team was D'Lo, Jeremy Sohan, JC, Jordan Poole, and Kelly Oubre Jr.
Yeah. Mine. Well, I'll give mine, and then we can chat about it a little bit. I had.
Mhm.
Let me. My eyes are bad. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who was the MVP unanimously. Leaving him off of yours was just a. It was a mistake.
It
Um,
was sad.
Bull. I also had Jordan Clarkson, and then I had Jeremy Grant and Devin Booker. So actually, four of the five guys that I picked ended up being the actual first team, which was Shea, Jordan, Jeremy.
Coincidence? I
Well,
think not.
no,
You
it
see, guys, there's an agenda behind this. I'm just kidding.
shut up. Then the only one that did it was Bull, who ended up making the third team. But
Yeah,
yours was interesting. I mean, Jordan Clarkson makes sense. Kelly Oubre, he's made teams a bunch of times. Can't complain about that. But
word.
Sohan first team was bold, and then
I don't
Jordan
even remember
Poole.
why I think I was picking like light skinned players, I think, or something like that. It don't really make too much sense. But Jeremy Sohan, bro, we need Jeremy Sohan. He's gonna be on there next season for sure.
Yeah,
I feel like his fashion is the only thing missing. Like he plays cool, cool hair, cool aesthetic, cool vibe, but the fits are a little inconsistent a little bit. But
we also didn't get a lot of pictures of him just because the Spurs don't take fit pics, I guess.
yeah.
All right, so our second team, yeah, you can give yours.
All right, so I had Nikhil Alexander Walker,
Yep.
Kyrie Irving, Shea. I don't know what I was thinking. Tyrese Halliburton, Vando, Jared Vanderbilt.
And then I had Josh Christopher, Jalen Williams. I also had Tyrese Halliburton, who made the second team, Jalen Brown, and then mine that I the fans didn't vote him, the panel didn't vote him, you didn't vote him, but I'm sticking with it. Was I had Bruce Brown on my second team. He dressed like a cowboy the entire season, and it was so dope, and it was just like a moment. And League Fits is all
Yeah.
moments, and y'all are stupid. I don't know. Bruce.
Yeah, speaking of moments, like the reason why Nikhil even got on my second team, I remember you put like a gallery out the morning before we put these teams together, or we picked our one third, and I was just it was a little recency bias, and I was like, bro, this dude's so swaggy, and I put him on the second team, but unfortunately he make it. But yeah,
Nah, he was an honorable mention in the end, though.
hmm I
Yeah,
mean, hello, honorable mentions.
we did. You had Kyrie, who didn't end up making anything, and then Vanderbilt and Shea were on your second team, and they ended up making the first teams. In the
Yeah,
I had Josh Christopher ended up making the third team, and then Jalen Williams, who was rookie of the year, and in honorable mentions. You want to run through your third team real quick?
yeah. My third team was Thanasis Antetokounmpo, PJ Tucker, Kuz, Russell Westbrook, and then I have Book.
Okay, okay. And I think your Devin Booker third team was just like a little bit of voter fatigue, right?
Yeah, it was just seemed like
And
because the reason why he got the first team last year or in the MVP last year was because he obviously leaned into the aesthetic, which he did much of the same this last season. I was just like, dang,
yeah,
because a lot of the reasons why, huh?
he definitely didn't like start dressing worse.
Nah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But to your point, a lot of the reasons why, even why Shea was on my second team, was because I got tired of seeing the same silhouette. Granted, he did mix it up last season, but I remember me and you talking about, man, cool jeans, flannel, graphic tee, cool jeans, flannel. So that's the same thing for me in Book.
Yeah, a little bit of fatigue. Okay, my third team, I also had well, wherever you put Thanasis was where I was gonna put Thanasis. So Thanasis is
There.
on my third team. I had Jeremy Sohan. I will say our teams veered on the younger side than some of the other groups. The panel definitely voted like older, like LeBron made the panel vote. Then the fans were a little older than us, but not quite. So it was interesting to see how everyone voted. Anyway,
Mhm,
Thanasis, Jeremy Sohan. I had Darius Baisley, who I think is just like so criminally underrated. Dope hats, cool, like dynamic fits. Whatever.
mhm.
So I had Thanasis, Jeremy, Darius Baisley, Patty Mills, who I just thought was like super consistent. And then my last one was Terry Rozier. Like Terry Rozier's like
You gotta let that go, bruh. You gotta let that go.
Terry.
Terror, you gotta let that go. That was like a moment in time, like during the Dwayne Bacon era, dog. Like you gotta let that go. I feel like
No, but like he still actually like if you just look at the pics, like Terry still dresses dope.
I don't know what that one.
Yeah. All right, give me an
Maybe.
honorable mention.
All right, my honorable mention were Bull, David Duke Jr., LeBron James, who's soon to retire. You heard it here first.
Okay.
Darius Baisley and Josh Christopher.
Yeah, mine was Kuz, D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt, who in retrospect probably should have taken Terry Rozier's spot. Or I just should have had higher in general. He made the first team, so it was all good. And then PJ Tucker and Russell Westbrook. Um,
Just any former Laker he can think of. Just do them all on the honorable mention list.
every former like oh, and then we both had Carl Anthony Towns on our honorable mentions too.
Oh yeah, shout out Cat. Shout out
Yeah,
Cat.
friend of the pod. Yeah, anyway, like we can run through the teams real quick, the final ones, just so you guys have them. If no, actually, we're not gonna run through them. You want to see the LeagueFits teams? Go on to the link in bio. It looks beautiful, and it's better than listening to us. Um,
Mm-hmm.
before we go, reoccurring segment,
It's my
survival
favorite part. My
survival
favorite part.
draft day, and every episode we draft something new. We've done hot people hobbies, people we'd seed our menswear clothing to, and then
Mm-hmm.
this one, this was Joe's idea, and ironically, it was
Kind of right.
my
Oh
idea,
yeah, little
but then
category.
couldn't come up with any. But we're
Yeah.
gonna do a button draft, so things with buttons.
Yeah, I love this idea, bro. So we're gonna draft any and all things with buttons. They could be nonfiction, they can be fictional. That's my biggest thing in these drafts. I need it to be fictional. Like I need to lean into the
These
weird
drafts are always
comic
gonna
book.
be open.
Yeah,
That's what keeps it fun.
yeah. All
For
right, for sure.
That's not the draft day. I don't know.
This
Anyway,
is you know what I'm saying. And
yeah.
this isn't necessarily functional. Like, what's the most functional? What's the most convenient? It's just what's the coolest things that have buttons on it, guys.
Stop pre-explaining. Just give us your pick.
Goodness gracious. All right, so my very first thing, if I could draft anything that has buttons on it, I'm picking, and I want to specify this is Spider-Man's web shooters, specifically in the MCU, because I wasn't really rocking with Andrew Garfield Spider-Man like that. But Spider-Man's web shooters, bro. What other thing with a button? Actually, I'm setting myself up for so many arguments. But either way, Spider-Man's web shooters, my number one thing I could draft. Things with buttons.
I feel like you could argue that's a trigger. But I'll give it to you because you do push down on it. You know, he's
Yeah,
two middle fingers and he pushes down. One thing about me, I love Spider-Man. I always thought like the wet, you know how Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, it just like came out of his wrist.
yeah.
I always thought that was way cooler. Like he was like
Mm,
part spider. I thought like building like your web shooter like was so beat.
I
Um anyway, that's a hot take. I get it. Um
Yeah, because I'm
I
like it leans
also
into the nerd aspect of it, but for sure,
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
you.
no, I want like my guy to be spider. I don't want him to like just yeah, I don't know, like the government could recreate the Spidey shooter. You know what I mean? Like that's lame.
It can.
Right, and that
Yeah.
sucks. I ironically also kind
He
of
said your pick sucks. That sucks. All right, for sure.
I mean, this is my hot take, so it's fine. I also
Yeah.
went with a weapon. Ironically, we just love a little microdose of violence on the pod, but for the greater good, of course. And I fact checked this before. A lightsaber, and lightsabers do have buttons.
Okay.
How fun
Dang.
would
All right. No,
it be, like
that's a good pick.
go
That's a good
out
pick.
somewhere? It's like I don't know, a dump or something and just slice stuff up with a lightsaber. Like there can't be a weapon that's more fun to use than a lightsaber. And I'm like
No, that's
super
fair.
anti-gun, like all of this. I would totally go and have some fun with a lightsaber. Let me go to the
You'd cop a
lightsaber
lightsaber.
page.
I wonder how much a lightsaber would go for, like in the real world. Like if they really could mass produce those things. I wonder how much they would go
Well,
for.
you could probably just get them at a show. You know, you could probably scratch the serial numbers off and get them on the low.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah,
No, that's a good pick. I don't know if that's better than a web shooter, but to be honest, to each his own.
yeah.
So for my second pick, we're sticking with the fictional theme here. I'm gonna go with the neuralizer from Men in Black. So for those who don't know, that's whenever like the Men in Black would do something and then someone would catch them doing something, they'd erase the memory from the witness with the neuralizer and they'd basically put it up and they'd flash it, and then everybody would just forget what happened. I felt like that was always so sick, and I didn't realize I had a button on it when I was picking my picks, and I was like, "Does it have a button?" I googled it, had a button on it, so second pick, Neuralizer, Men in Black.
No, that's a great pick. Can't argue with that one. However, mine is still better despite your great pick. Like, like you pick Trey Young, I'm picking Luca type deal. Like, good and
For
great.
sure. No, that's fair.
Um, Tearaway pants. Like pants, tearaway
Yeah.
pants, it's buttons all along the side. You ever worn a pair of tearaway pants? You ever actually ripped
I
like
think I had a pair issued to me for like a basketball team. I never used them because
uh
I was in the game killing them, but you know what I'm saying? That's not true.
yeah. My senior year of high school, we had like a homecoming type thing, and anyway, like, they pick the homecoming people through, like, a man pageant talent show, whatever. Anyway, I got a pair of tearaway pants for that, cause anyway, I walked on the stage, tear the pants off, whatever, and, ripping off those pants was, like, the coolest I've ever felt in my entire life. Whenever I see the NBA players that got 'em, I'm always jealous. Like, I just, like, wanna walk home from a long day of work, cause I'm about to be an office guy pretty soon after this New York move. I just wanna, like, get home and just, like, rip off my pants and just toss them into the laundry basket,
Just
like, melt.
tear them away.
Yeah.
Two hands on them too, each leg, just tear each leg off, just in
So
uniform. That'd be amazing.
flawless.
Um, all right, so my third pick, kind of going a little curveball here because I guess technically it's Button. I'm picking Benjamin Button, super iconic movie character, great movie that I didn't watch, but the storyline very sad, made me cry. You know, what I'm saying the whole idea of it. So I'm picking Benjamin Button. I just needed some sort of like curveball in the draft. I've been sticking with, the fictional theme here.
Okay. Damn,
It's a
I
fair
watched
pick.
you in this one. You got me in the draft before this, but I'm watching you in this one. With the third pick, the third and final pick of the Things with Buttons draft, I'm just taking the Nas button. I'm taking the turbocharged button, like Fast and Furious when the cops are about to catch up to him, or the enemies or whatever. They hit the Nas button and it's like in the movies, or if you've ever played like any racing video game ever at like an
Mm-hmm.
arcade or on PlayStation or whatever, you always know there's like a turbo button, a Nas button, whatever. Hell yeah, the Nas button. You feel like
You
you're
know what's
really juiced up.
You know what's so great about my picks is that I can just like click the neuralizer button on this and just you'll just forget everything and I'll steal all this picks from you and just win the draft on its own. That's why I have such an OD lineup. You didn't even think about that. Like I could just erase all that. There's no need for a Nas button. I got 5 stars, boom, 0 stars. Just like that.
You had the
Very easy.
you had the memory eraser thing from Men in Black. You
Yeah.
had Benjamin Button and well, oh yeah, and the web.
I needed some ethos. I needed some like emotional like
More
tug
respect.
on the heartstrings a little
Respect.
bit.
And then I had lightsaber tearaway pants and Nas. Oh, I washed you.
The lightsaber, yeah, lightsaber was
I
OD. I'm not
Denver
gonna lie.
Nuggets you.
Wow, Lakers in 9, but love to see it. You hate to hear it. Not gonna lie. How
Uh,
it goes.
well, good pod.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to our.
Yeah.
My outros are kind of lame. Not gonna lie.
Chrome Hearts.
Shout out Chrome Hearts.
Yeah, you intro us. You always intro us and outro us. I can handle it once. It was good seeing y'all. We'll be back this exact same time next week. I love you. Goodbye.
Whoa.